the stuff together here. Alright, hey guys, welcome back to the Quilted Gardener. Long time no see. Today is December 29th, I think. Yeah, it's Tuesday. Today is going to be the first episode of the Greenhouse Science, and it's lavender that I'm working on now. So I did a little, did something. I bought this, the burpee lavender seeds. They are, how much is in here? I don't remember ounce-wise, but it was like 0.1 or something like that. It ended up being about 20 seeds per pack. And I mean, for $1.99, I don't even know what that comes out to in the long run. This one is a variety of English lavender. The three main varieties, excuse me, species that are grown in the United States are English, French, and Spanish. However, there's several more species, and then there's a total of about 450 varieties of lavender seeds on the market. But the three most common are, Spanish, which is predominantly for the South, zone 7 and below, really, like Texas, Arizona, New Mexico, Florida. It does really well there because it is a Mediterranean plant. It does like very dry, arid conditions, so it doesn't do the greatest after you get up in my area. I'm zone 6, so it doesn't really, you pretty much call it an annual once you got into these zones. The two that do the best above the southern hemisphere are English lavender and French lavender, but French lavender is a hybrid, and I'm not real keen on hybrids. So the other version of the seeds I bought are organic lavender seeds. They were a little more on this expensive side, but there's 10 grams in this pack, which equates to about 5,000 seeds in this packet. And I think I paid $8.99 for them on Amazon. So you're going to hear stratification and a few other terms that you're going to go, what the hell is that? Stratification just means you put it in the refrigerator. Now, some of them tell you to do it for like 9 or 10 weeks. And I don't know if that's a misprint, misquote, what. You really only need 10 days in the refrigerator with lavender seeds. And that just, helps trick the seed into thinking that it's winter, which technically it is winter. But the seeds don't know that because they've been collected. Okay, make sure that's closed. The big differences I noticed between the organic and the burpee. I mean, the seeds look the same-ish. The organic do appear to have, a little smaller appearance. It's funny because when you're looking at them, they look like fleas. They look just like sand fleas. So I'm going to grab a couple of my plants that I brought in. Hold on. Just trying to pick some that are easy for me to handle. Real quick here. And I did move my camera over a little bit. I'm gonna have to move it again. Sorry about this. The angle's weird. This is my first time filming out here too. I'm sure you really don't want to see the nose hairs. So this way I'll be more like I'm looking at you rather than off to the side. So the lavender plants I bought last year, I thought I had one of those pots in here, but I guess I don't. Excuse me. Still have my dry throat from medications. So they came in a pot, probably about that big, so I'm going to say 2 gallons, because my black pots are a gallon, and they were bigger than that. They're about that tall. So they were very nice, healthy plants. Pulling the grass out of that one. And I want to say I paid $15 a piece for them. They weren't cheap. And the reason lavender plants are more expensive, depending on, obviously the size that you buy, the variety that you buy, is the process to grow lavender is kind of in depth. That's why I decided to do this video, because especially for those of us who live in the northern hemisphere, I see them for California, the Philippines, Texas, Florida. There's no videos really that tell you how to get a good germination rate in the north. So I saw one and it was like 1.5 minutes. I'm like, okay, that didn't tell me anything. So I decided that my first video would be on lavender. I'm just gonna move my tray out of the way right now. So like I said, I did bring all of my plants in that I bought last year. I had 3 large ones, and then I had 2, that were in this quart size container. This, good lord, this size container, they were $7.89, and they did okay. So the $7.89 one is this one right here, which I can see needs a little bit of trimming. One of the falsities about lavender is that they will not, send out. I set this on the shelf and I broke a piece of it, so I'm trying to trim that off. Is that they won't send out new growth on old wood. So this is considered old wood. Old wood is anything below the new green growth shoot. And you'll see the color differentiation in the plant. This one's not real happy right now because it's been moved several times with me out here working and changing things around. These are Fiskars, snippers. Some people use them in the sewing room. I use them gardening because I can get in here to my plants and I can snip out without worrying about damaging the good parts of my plant. So they're just a little more precision. I got mine at Menards for like $12.99. You go to Joann's, you're gonna pay, I think it's $20 for them. And you can get them on Amazon, you can get them at Lowe's, wherever they sell Fiskars. Pruning equipment. So, and like I said, a little bit ago, lavender is a Mediterranean plant, so it likes dry, arid conditions, even though it will do well in the northern hemispheres. You just have to, make sure you take care of your plants. Since I don't know, how old the plants were that I purchased are, I went on the assumption that they were less than 2 years old. So that's why I put them in pots and brought them in. Plus my greenhouse smells amazing. So, but like here, this right here, from here up, this is all new growth. This is the portion that you can trim And strip your leaves off, dip it into rooting hormone. I have the Rapid Start rooting hormone. I got it on Amazon. It's not cheap stuff, but you don't use a lot of it either. So with this right here, I'll just, because this is an odd shape, it's not that big of a deal, but I would trim it here. And then you just strip your leaves off, and I keep those. And then dip it down in your rooting hormone. And obviously, if you're using this for something else besides, just one plant, you're going to want to pour a very small amount out. I mean, just smidge. And this cat kind of sucks for doing this. And then just, get the rooting hormone onto your cutting. And, I mean, do as much as you can. I prefer the liquid over the powder. And then just make a little divot in the dirt. Put a little more room here. And put it down in there. Just tap it in nicely. I say put it to bed. Clean out your, the part that you dipped it into. Don't dump it back into the bottle. That's why I said use a very little amount. And then water them. I have a tray over here. I'm going to grab it too while I'm at it. Of what I've propagated. And I did these late fall. Trying not to fall off the edge here. So I did a couple rounds of them, and like I just showed you, I put my starter mix in here, and I did use, what did I use in these? I think I used frog dirt, or basically an organic compost type of dirt, and I mixed it with some coir. My first few that I did as a test, I just put it in the organic compound, and it was too heavy. So I lost those. And then with this one, I did about a 50-50 mix of gnats. Ugh, I meant to spray again. And, packed all my cells, which I used, similar to this. Fill it up, pack it down with your thumbs, nice and tight, water it, because you've got the slots on the bottom that it's going to fall out of. So use a very, very moist, not dripping wet compound or compost mix. Pack it down in there, fill it again, pack it down, use both thumbs. Your last inch-ish, you can leave it a little loose, just kind of pat it in. Because you don't want, that's a mistake I found my first time around too. You don't want the dirt level with this top. If you do that, then when you water, it's gonna, pour right out. And that goes for any seed starting that you do. Don't fill it to the top. Don't overflow it. Your pots, your start packs, anything. Give yourself, and your pot's at least an inch, because you're using a bigger, usually watering pan, and it's just gonna flow right off and take the dirt with it, and you're gonna get irritated, and your plant's not gonna get adequately watered. Now with these, this is a 72 cell tray, and I lost 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 30, 31, 32, 30, oh, nope, there's one in there. So I lost right around 32, which truthfully is not bad, considering the average germination rate, transplant propagation for lavender is only 30%. So say I did plant all 5,000 seeds, and you divide that by 30, I suck at math. I'm a nurse, you know. I just suck at math. But I forgot what I was even doing actually. I have 5,000 seeds, 30%. You're only gonna get about, I want to say 1,800 plants, you know, germinations that are gonna actually survive from 5,000 seeds, which is ridiculous when you think about it. So for me losing the amount that I did on my actual full, you know, propagation, it looks like I have coleus seeds growing in here too. I must have dropped some or something. I'm doing pretty well right now with this. So, like I said, I used the rooting hormone. I stuck it down on the dirt. I did notice ones that I did like that much for the root start. They did way better than doing a smaller amount. I don't have the guts to pull one out to see how the roots are doing just yet, just because I don't like killing plants. So you can propagate from your plants that you have currently, as long as you are using new growth. So remember that, new growth. I did try some with dead wood. Didn't work. They were right on that. It did not work. So, you know, this one is one of the quarts. No, I lied. This is one of the like 1.5 gallon size ones, and I didn't realize that there were actually 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There were 8 plants in that 1.5 gallon pot. So when I moved them, because originally these were up front, and I decided to move them back here to my beds that are in the back because they were too shaded up front. That's the other thing with lavender. They really like sun. Yeah, 6+ hours it says, and that is, you know, hitting that borderline of, you know, southern Illinois and below. Here it's more like 10 hours of sun, which we do get during our summer months. So, and like I said, these plants, I didn't know how, you know, what their actual age was. They do better once they've been established longer, and they have a better root ball. So that was the reason I brought them in, was in order to not lose some very expensive plants. And I've, you know, been trimming them and, you know, propagating. So that's been one of my little science projects out here. We've just been so busy this year. And I mean, I'll go over, you know, what you see, stuff that we've done and accomplished, which, you know, if you didn't see it already. And these videos may be a little bit on the longer side. I don't know, I'll edit them out. But the other thing I was talking about earlier, they say that new growth does not come on old wood. That's not true at all. Now this plant, I am certain it's younger because of this. Ooh, there's some grass in this one. So, and I like to fluff my soil up too, just so it doesn't get packed and then turn that weird white whatever that is. I mean, it's not going to kill your plant, but it's just ugly, unless you like white stuff in your plants. This one, I only did, this one only had, I want to say 3? No, 2. It only had 2 separate plants in the pot. So the other one is over there. So this one I think was a little older because it was a lot more full. But it has all kinds of new growth on this old wood down at the base. So it's just going to fill out more. And I really don't think it has to do with it, you know, for the fact it's being inside the greenhouse, because I noticed it when I pulled them up. So that's not true that old wood doesn't have new growth on it. Okay, so I lied. This one does have it too. Almost to the, you know, the crown there is new growth coming out right here. I don't know if you can see that or not, but that's, I mean, that whole right there where my finger is, that length, that's all new growth on old wood. So they don't just grow from the top. Yeah, and they do look spindly and scraggly, but I did split them up. So this is one piece, and it has 1, 2, 3, 4. It has 5 actual branches to that one root ball. That one I don't even know, it has a lot. So the biggest misconception on lavender is, like I said, the stratification time. But this one says to refrigerate. This one, the organic, it just, the planting instructions, if you're doing it outside, you either do it in the spring or the fall and pray for the best. Spring and winter, but I say fall. Depends on where you're at. Can be sown in the greenhouse, which actually, when they printed this, it actually says the green horse, but I know it means greenhouse. And the number of germination days, it says is 14 to 21. In all the other information that I've looked, it's not 3 weeks. It's more like 4 to 6 weeks, so that's what I'm planning on, and technically I consider myself about 2 weeks behind. We don't plant here in Michigan, Zone 6A, where I live, until Labor Day weekend. And I'm thinking it might be later, more into June this year, because I think we're going to have a really weird winter. We got slammed on Christmas Eve and Christmas Day, and then we hit 40. Tomorrow's supposed to be rain, turn to snow, turn to ice. So our weather's all over the place, and then I think in January-ish, mid-January, February, we're going to get some serious snow. It's going to take it a while to clear. So, but I have my greenhouse, so I'm good with that. So this one, the organic, it doesn't say to stratify it. It says they already are. And it just, to put them in water for 12 hours before sowing. And it says before sowing, the soil should be leveled, watered thoroughly. After the water seeps, the seeds are evenly sown and then covered with a layer of fine soil. The thickness is 0.2 centimeters. Again, I don't know math. I suck at math. And the plastic film is covered to protect moisture. So, there's a couple of different ways I'm planning on doing this. One is the plastic bag method. I have my, trying not to spill this. My paper towel is wet. These seeds were soaked, and I actually soaked these for about 28 hours before I did anything with them. And these are the burpees. So, as you can see, they're stuck to the paper towel. And I did do a couple layers thickness on this. I have some Old Spice bottles that I just don't use anymore. So I put my seed down in there and I dumped both packets in there. And like I said, there are not a ton of seeds in there for $1.99. Especially when you consider they're saying only 30% are going to germinate. We will see. I'm not sitting here counting these seeds to tell you that if it really was 30%. So I just dumped my water that had my seeds in it soaking onto the paper towel. I made sure I get all of them out of my little container. I did find it would probably be better to use some type of crucible or something to where it's easier to get the seeds out. They don't have to be covered, but I did because they have two crazy cats. So I dumped everything onto here, and instead of sitting there with a pair of tweezers or one of these, picking them out and spreading them, dry your hands really good, use your finger, and brush them. It'll move them over and unclump them. So, Ziploc baggie, and I made sure that this is, that I had some room on my edges so I can fold my paper towel over to fit into the bag easier. Waterproof Sharpie. And today, I'm going to write burpee. And these are English lavenders. 12, 28, 20 is start. So it should be, if this package is right, we should see germ around 128, 21. So we'll leave a question mark there. There's the first one. And I'm not doing any other experiment with the burpee seeds, just because there's not that many of them. So the organics I'm going to do a little bit more testing with. So, you know, put it in your baggie, your Ziploc here. And I did both, you know, the organic and the burpee the same way. You know, try to keep your paper towel as flat as possible. Make sure it's good and moist, but not dripping. You don't want your seeds to, you know, mold. So then zip, tape, or whatever you have to do. Leave a little space on the end. Blow some hot air in it, which I have more than most people. I mean, it's not like inflated, but my breath went in there and it's a good, you know, heat starter. And by raising it up a little bit with the plastic, it just keeps it from all sticking together. And when you have to water these, you can pull the paper towel out if you want and just spritz it with a water bottle. I wouldn't try to water it with like a watering can. You're gonna end up washing your seeds away. Double check, make sure your Ziploc baggie is sealed, and then just put it in a warm, sunny place, which mine will go over there. Now for the organic, this pack, I specifically put, these are soaked, like I said, and I put a ton of seeds on this paper towel. So, grab something here. Because I'm doing these in a couple different ways, and touching them, you know, it's not going to hurt your seeds unless you're poisonous. So I'm scraping some of these off, especially where I have bigger clumps. It almost looks like I might have some, I don't know, there's little white things on the end. So, I really don't know how many are here. I think I put a teaspoon out from that packet, so probably about 2,000 seeds are on here. And again, you know, I might get 600 to germinate. That doesn't mean that 600 is going to grow. Remember that. They're just germinating. So, and like I said, they look like fleas. So now, same thing. This one's a little bigger, so I might have to tear it in half. And I use the paper towels that are, you know, ripped to length paper towels for doing stuff like this. Let's put that in the middle. You know, once again, fold my, which you can't see it, and I'm not going to get up and move my camera. You know what I mean? Most of you are quilters, so fold your edges over like you're making a hem. That just helps hold the moisture. Oop, I gotta mark my bag first. So this is, and they just say organic. There's no actual company. And this is Lavandula angustifiolia, and this one doesn't even give you the botanical name. This is English lavender. So we're just gonna say organic English lavender. start is 12/28/20, and on this packet, it's okay. This one says the same thing, 14 to 21 days. So we should see germination again right around, I almost said July, I don't know why, January. So that'd be a great little late birthday present to me. So, and we're gonna do the same thing. We're gonna stick them in the bag. And with them being, you know, on this wet paper towel, you don't have to be super careful about seeds flying off everywhere, because they're not dry, they're stuck. And, you know, and if some do fall off, leave them in the bag. They're still moist. I got dirt on my hands. So, and again, you know, close your bag up really good, blow some air in it. This one, you know, I didn't blow the air in it, but it's got plenty of air in it. And then put it someplace warm. So we're gonna put that off to the side. These are the seeds that I have that are, these were soaked. These have not been. So that's another part of the experiment I'm gonna do. So this is the first day of lavender greenhouse science. I'm telling you, I smell amazing right now. So, you know, it says that they're going to germinate. I will, you know, follow up with these each day that I'm out here working on stuff, because I am going to do a couple different ways of germinating seeds. Obviously, you know, containers like this with a humidity dome, and then I have these clear coffee cups, drink cups, like solo cups, that I have the lids for. And I bought these purposely because I was planning on doing this experiment. So, these are just a pain in the ass to get apart because they stick together. And I know there's two there because I see two X's for the straw hole, which I really like. So, take these apart if I can. Well, you get the gist of a lid. I'm gonna fill this up with just straight up coir, no potting mix in here for this one. Plant a few seeds in there, put my lid on it, of course mark it all up like you normally do. You'll see that when I actually do it. And then I'm gonna do another one with the mixed medium and these are like gonna be, you know, miniature little greenhouses for them. So that'll be, you know, an experiment in itself. And I'm going to do one that was seed soaked, one that was seeds not soaked. Same with, you know, these. One with soaked seeds, one with dry seeds. Obviously all organic because I'm not going out and buying some more burpees. And then, you know, I'm going to do some seed starts with just a loose humidity dome, you know, the typical humidity dome, you know, that fits your flat. And then I'm also going to do one where it's a plastic bag, which I did not bring those out here. I bought some plastic bags that are bigger than my 72 cell trays, and just I'm going to put straws in each corner to hold the bag up, and then seal the bag with, you know, a twisty tie or wire or whatever. So it's more of a sealed humidity dome over this loose, which I don't know why I'm pointing to it because you can't see it, over the loose humidity domes. So there's going to be, you know, the 1, 2, 3, 6 different ways, about maybe more, 6 different ways that I'm going to try germination on these seeds, and we're going to monitor and see how well they do, see what does work and what doesn't. So this is going to be a whole series. It may end up being 12 parts, I don't know. And we're going to watch it throughout, because maturity, which means, I'm going to back up here a little bit. So when you're reading your packet, any of them, it tells you, you know, this one is 90 days to harvest. Okay, so that's 3 months before you actually have some blooms on there. That does not include the, I'm going to say 4 to 6 weeks of germination time. So you got 90 days, 3 months, 4 to 6 weeks of germination time. You need to add that on. So 90 plus the 30 to 45, so anywhere from 120 to 145 days actually, before you actually see some blooms on these. And this one says the same thing. English lavender, there are 2 types. There's a dwarf and then there's just regular growth. These are both regular because I want these bushy. I'm using these to help control, bugs, mosquitoes, gnats, flies. I wish they would run away, the stupid cabbage moths. Going to be trying some experiments with that as well. Because in here, we had bought some of that really expensive frog dirt on Amazon. It's like $48 for a 40-pound bag. Don't get it. I don't care if the company comes after me or not. It was full of aphid eggs. And I have been spraying neem oil daily in here because of that. I lost my pepper plants. They actually love pepper plants. And the thing with having aphids on your plants, they bring ants, because when the aphids are sucking the sap out of your plant, they leave this sugary residue behind on the stem, which of course the ant loves. So the ant's going to try to protect the aphid from any other bugs that want to eat the aphid in order to get their sugary stuff for free. They're little mooching bitches. So I've been out here with neem oil. Next I'm going to do a soap mixture to see if it gets rid of it. I mean, I've cut it way down. I mean, I had a couple plants covered. And I didn't know what it was at first. And then when I bumped the planter, all this crap flew up. So I had another, the Michigan Gardener, MI Gardener, what do you want to call them, wrap some tape around your fingers and pick them off. I don't think so. I'm going to spray them. So I'm going to try the Dawn dishwashing liquid stuff. I bought a different spray bottle just for Dawn dishwashing liquid to go in there with water to see how well that works. Some people do pour some neem oil in there. I'm not a huge fan of neem oil. It stinks. But it got on my lettuce, my cabbage, or not my cabbage, my kale, my spinach, my tomatoes. It, oddly enough, didn't bother the artichokes or the coffee. Just right, here you go. These are little sprouts that came off. This is what a coffee plant looks like, Arabica. My other ones are over there and it's too heavy for me to lift. So, what was I at? Oh, so remember, you gotta add on your germination time to the amount of time that they tell you it's gonna be harvest. So this harvest time is from you sticking it in the ground, an actual plant, to the time it produces. Your plant's not gonna germinate and be ready to go in the ground. It's gotta be put into a medium to grow in, whether it's a hydroponic, a cocoa coir, a seed starting from, do I have any bags? No. Like burpee, or I did have some. I mixed it with cocoa coir because in my opinion the burpee and the Miracle Grow was a little heavy. Another one of them stupid gnats. And so the cocoa coir helped to lighten it up. Now, as we, I will throw in other videos that are going to cover exactly, planting zones and harvest time and depths and why they tell you to do that. But with lavender, when you're starting it, of course, with the paper towel method, we will be out here with tweezers and we will be pulling them off and sticking them into the little things. But I'm gonna use this size of planter and put, several plants in here, because if I put 10 in, I'm only supposed to get 3. Maybe I'll get all 10. Wouldn't that be amazing? So my purpose is I don't want scraggly individual plants. You want a good sized plant that, when you plant it in the ground and it starts growing and producing, it looks nice. It's not just this, stick sticking out of the ground that had some blue flowers on it. So that's called overseeding, in which I will do that when I do the dry run on plants. And then I don't have, so many of these with lavender in them. So like I said, I'm a couple weeks behind on starting these. My greenhouse right now is 64 degrees with a 59% humidity. Outside, I think it said it was 36. So there is a possibility we might be changing some things around in here because, you know, we have a really tall ceiling. The walls on this are 8 foot tall, but the pitch, you add another 4 feet to that pitch. So the heat obviously rises, and it was going up into the pitch and just sitting there. So I ran some heavy mill plastic, which is over there, across the ceiling and down this wall. And it helped a lot because I wasn't maintaining. But I may go back and, you know, just get the corrugated plastic stuff, whatever it's called. Brain fart from hell right now. And install it. I was going to do that in the spring once everything was out of here. But I'm thinking before I get going really good with everything, which will be January when I start planting, because I learned a few things last year. Next on the list to plant is peppers because I learned last year, start them earlier. So I may go ahead and just do everything in here now to get a better seal. Because at this point I have two 1500 watt heaters running and a fan. You know, electric bill's a little, first one came in, I'm about choked. But again too, this greenhouse is, if you were to stack my old one in here, it's 4 of them stacked up, 2 on each side, 2 high. And I'm loving it. But I'm not loving the electric bill, which I kind of thought was going to happen, you know. And we're looking at other options with wood, pellet. Propane is just not even an option because those heaters are ridiculous. And then there is a natural gas option that I could have the plumber run from my house, because I'm not that far from the house, maybe 10 feet, and I have a gas line like right there on that concrete portion of the house. So, but I'm thinking I'm gonna put all, you know, what I have on the outside, which is that corrugated, not even corrugated, polycarb is what it's called. It has the channels in it. All the way around, because this back wall obviously is just siding, and my 2 side walls have siding on them halfway up, and then the rest is polycarb. And with having the polycarb on, it's gonna let more light in here because I feel a little, I don't know, it feels dusty, dark in here. But it'll just seal it better and hold the heat better, I'm hoping. Plus we have, you know, concrete pavers on the floor on this side that I'm sitting on, where my bench is that you can't see. That is a weed block that's woven. I don't have a piece of it laying here, but you can't rip that stuff. You can melt it, but you can't rip it. So I went a little off topic on that, but this is my first video for the season. And lavender is my passion. Like I said, I wanted to keep bugs away. Aphids have not touched it. So I'm thinking I might have to move some plants around in here that I'm still having issues with, and put the lavender next to those, because it got on my kale, my first batch of kale, and just wiped it out because it was so young. My lettuce is okay. Lettuce and spinach and kale are getting potted up differently from what I have them in right now. Those came in a few days ago, but I just haven't been out here. And then I'm just gonna set the, you know, maybe put the lavender plants in between those to see if it'll keep it off there, because my tomatoes are getting repotted. They're not real happy, and it's in that frog dirt. They're not happy. It's almost like that frog dirt is too heavy for what I'm trying to use it for. I think it's more of a top dressing, is what I'm thinking. But I don't like it because it's full of bugs. Because I have a tub of it over there, and I didn't know what was in there. Oh, it's right there now. But I didn't know what was in there, so I opened the lid and I got, you know, a face full of aphids flew out of there. So they were living in the dirt and not having, you know, the ability to fly around in here. But they were very happy in that storage tub full of dirt. So that actually got neem oil dumped into it and the lid put back on it, and it's sitting directly in the sun. I'm hoping that neem oil permeates and kills them all. If not, when I open it again, it's being opened up in the garage, so I don't have any loose in here. But it'll just get dumped into the garden bed. I won't use it. And I didn't pay the huge price on Amazon. We got it at our local exchange, fruit exchange, and so it was like $18 for a 40-ish pound bag, in which it really was just compost with a little bit of peat moss in it. And they were talking about, all these great nutrients are in there. Well, it works great for marijuana. That's what the number one purchasing is, because marijuana you have to use, specific types of fertilizer. Not what your plants, your lavender and all that stuff would use, the 333 or the 535 or the 555, because I use, for transplanting, I use the either Espoma when I can get it or Burpee transplant starter, and this is 364. So those numbers, I'm gonna do a whole video on that as well. But that's the parts, percentages of what's in here. Your three main nutrients that you need. So nitrogen, potassium, and I can't remember the other one right now. But this one, you put in 2 cups of plant food per cubic foot. Not linear feet, cubic feet for 2 cups of this. My Espoma is over here. You gotta be careful with that stuff because it will knock you on your butt when you open it up. Whew. And then the neem oil I've been using is the Garden Safe Organic. It doesn't seem like it's really working that great. And then this is a 1 gallon pot here. When I was talking earlier about my plants, my lavenders, they were about 1.5, 2 gallon pots. They were bigger round than this, but shorter. But this is a 1 gallon pot, which hopefully these seeds will end up in here. And I'll probably leave them in their pots this season and bring them in for the winter because they're going to be tender, they're going to be new, so that their root systems have more time to develop. Because the stronger root system on a lavender plant, the better it'll bloom, the longer it will last. These plants in particular get anywhere between 18 and 36 inches tall. I want to say 30, and 12 inches wide. So, they say plant 1 plant per 12-inch container. Really? The other thing I noticed with this organic compared to this, when I opened the packet, and there's a little window on the back of it. I wish it said who made them, but I got them on Amazon. It just doesn't have a name. It just says USDA Organic, and I know they came from a lavender field out west, like Oregon area. And there's a little window on the back of it so you can see in there. But when I opened it, first off, the fragrance was amazing. Secondly, the thing I noticed when I took some out into my spoon, I don't know if I can angle this where you can see it, but do you see the buds, the flower buds that are still in there? So I know that, these weren't some weird something or other they collected other than a plant. And it just, it smells amazing. And then the inside of the container, even though there's a plastic like liner in here, you can see the lavender oil stains on it. So I'm thinking this was the better purchase. This one, it doesn't even smell like lavender. I know there were no flower buds in here, and there's a little bit of an oil stain, but I have to wonder if it's because they were in the packet so long, because this one's expiration date is sell by 11/20. And then, of course you can keep seeds for a couple years in your refrigerator, or if you have a really cool basement or a, what do they call those things, root cellar, as long as they're kept dry, you can keep those there for years. But if, like in the greenhouse, I wouldn't do it. All of my seeds are actually in my studio right now because I'm creating a seed Bible. So, and I'll show you guys that as I go along too. But today was just getting the paper towel starts which, while I'm thinking about it, I need to put these over here because I'll walk away and forget. And take my cookie sheet back in that I brought them in on. So, and while I'm at it, today's 12/28. I'm just going to go ahead and do these because these seeds have been soaked. And these are organic. And I'm going to write soaked seeds on here. Grab my watering can. Get me some mix. Okay, so this is coir and perlite mixed together. And I didn't put the lid back on the container, so it got dried out pretty quick. Cookie sheet moved. That was not me passing gas. And I'll poke the hole in this cup after I get this done because I don't want water running all over the place. And I want it to soak up really good. So then I just keep kind of mixing it around because this is a little soupy. So I put a little too much water in here, which is fine because I've got to do some other things. So I'll just add some more mix to this. One thing with cocoa coir, you will get hair from the coconut. And just mix it around. I'm actually going to use one of my pots here because I poured way too much water in there. And then I'll have it mixed for my other ones that I need too. And it's not that big of a deal because it'll just dry out and it creates better humidity in here. Old paint stick. Mix it around. Now watch me mix this too dry. It's like making biscuits. You keep adding the liquid as you go. Alright, so now I can actually poke the hole in here. And I just do small little holes. Don't do big ones, don't use a drill bit, none of that stuff in here. God, it feels so good to have my hands in dirt. Best feeling in the world. Yeah, use another cup or whatever. Get a good pack on it, you know, because that's what helps to hold the moisture. And I want this 2/3 of the way full. Ish. Don't ask me how many ounces that is, grams, pounds, whatever. Okay, so it's marked. Hard to read, but it's marked, so I'll know. The next ones I do, don't write them in black because you can't see what's in there. Knock it off your hands because you're picking these seeds up and you can't see them. So for this one, I'm putting about 20-25 seeds in there. And then, you know, I packed it down pretty good. Now I'm just going to take a little bit of this moist coir mixture. And just do a nice slight little tamp. I'm not gonna push it down in there. I want them covered, but I want them to be able to breathe too. Now the fun part comes. I never did get this stupid little part. And they're all like this, I think. Oh wait, maybe this one's not. They stick together. But anyways, they have the straw hole in them. And you can tape it if you want. This is a used one, so the straw hole is bent open, and that's what I want. So I'm just gonna put both of them on here. See what happens. Nope. Both of them won't fit. There we go. Cut it off. Actually, I should have just wrote on the lid. 1228 soaked lavender. All right. Put your lid on. Because that amount of moisture is good. That's way more than what's in that paper towel, actually. Believe it or not, these stupid lids were made for these cups, but I've had this issue every time I go to put one on. It doesn't want to fit. And if that, you can't, there we go, snaps. So now this is going to go over there actually, where the germination paper towels are. There's my first one. These soaked ones that are left over right here, which I have a lot, and like I said, I'm going to overseed, and then as time goes on, these little tools are amazing for transplanting. There. So that's how, that's a mini greenhouse right there. And so this is our first video, which I'm editing it way down, so it may skip that kind of thing, because right now I'm at almost an hour. Trying to think, is there anything else I need to cover in this video? I don't think so, other than myself. So I'll see you next time around.